All right, guys, welcome back to another video for Sancom Scouting, and it is my favorite day of the year. First day of the NFL draft, the first round, arguably the most exciting. Got my Julio Jones jersey on. As some of you may know, I'm a Falcons fan. And so for the last video, we did a 3-round mock draft, and it was mostly about what I would do if I was in these spots. So today, as the first round is going to be coming on in about 8 hours, we're going to do a what I think will actually happen, like a more realistic, what I think the teams will do mock draft. And I've made a bet that I will get over under 19 and a half of these. I said over 19 and a half of these picks will be correct, but with trades, it's going to be really tough. We are going to make a couple trades today, though. So hopefully that'll make it a little bit more accurate, but I guess we'll see. Thank you guys all for the love on the last video. I appreciate it a lot. Helps out a lot as being a new channel, just getting started up. I appreciate the all the viewers. Thank you guys very much. If you guys have any content that you'd like to see, make sure to leave it in the comment section. I'll be happy to make a video about whatever you guys want. All right. So for the first pick for Carolina, the buzz lately has been Will Levis because of the Reddit thread. And honestly, like I think it does have some weight to it. A lot of people think that it's, just one of his friends put it on Reddit to like build some buzz and get people talking about him, but I think it has a lot more weight than people are giving it credit for. Like after Anthony Richardson, I would say Will Levis has the second highest potential in this draft class. He's got a big frame. He's got a really strong arm. He's a good athlete. He played in the most pro style offense out of all the top four QBs. And he had pretty solid production with literally nothing around him. I mean, like, you talk about a guy like CJ Stroud's production. First of all, he wasn't in the SEC. The Big Ten is probably the second best conference, but still isn't the best conference in college football. It's not even close to the SEC in competition level. And then also he has all these pro players around him. He's throwing the ball to Jackson Smith-Njigba, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Jeremy Ruckert. Like there's other players too, but like just that right there is like 4 NFL skill position players that he has been throwing the ball to. So, and then you look at Will Levis and like what's he had? Wan'Dale Robinson is his best target in his career at Kentucky. So you kind of gotta not give him some slack, but you gotta take that into consideration. And honestly, with his ceiling being the second highest in the draft and being a lot more pro ready than Anthony Richardson, we're gonna follow the hype and go Will Levis here at number 1. I think Houston would be thrilled if the board fell this way because everybody knows they want Bryce Young. It's not a secret whatsoever. People are saying they're trying to trade up from 2 to 1, but I don't know why the Panthers would do that just to, lose the possibility of the quarterback they want at 1, unless the Texans offer like something ridiculous. So we're going to go Bryce Young here at number 2 for the Texans, make it pretty simple. Now, number 3, we've got Arizona. Once again, I don't think this pick needs to get too complicated. They need defense. Specifically, they need corner and edge. Got one of the better edge rushers we've seen in the past 2 years. Probably could have gone at number 1 overall if teams weren't so quarterback needy. We're going to go with the alien, Will Anderson. Now, this is where it starts to get a little iffy, right? You've got potential with teams wanting to trade up because so far we got 2 out of the top 4 quarterbacks gone. And the Colts are going to be one of those teams that is probably going to want to take one of them. But then after that, you've got 2 teams right here that could take a QB, but don't necessarily need one. Honestly, actually, the next 4 teams are all like that. I mean, as a Falcons fan, I'm not extremely confident in Desmond Ridder, but I do think he deserves a chance. He played pretty solid in the last 2 games of the season. And then they just signed Jimmy G, Jared Goff, and then Geno Smith. So although they could take a QB, not 100% necessary. They could trade down and acquire some more value. So, but with the Colts here, though, I think they know that they're not really ready to compete right now, even though some parts of their roster are very, very talented. I think I'm going to go with the highest ceiling in the draft here. They need to stop cycling through these quarterbacks for 1 year. They need a long-term solution, someone they can build up to be franchise QB. Going to go with Anthony Richardson here, number 4. And then we got Seattle, and this is where going to do the first trade spot. So Got a team like Tennessee wants to jump the potential for all these teams that might draft a quarterback. They really need a quarterback. Ryan Tannehill is unfortunately far past his prime, and the word coming out of Tennessee is that they don't have any faith in Malik Willis at all. So we're gonna make a trade with Tennessee trying to move up here. So let's see. Tennessee gonna move up with Seattle. So they want pick 5. I have to give them pick 11, and then probably gonna have to give them. See, this is just wrong because they say, oh, this is too much, but I don't know. I disagree. All right, what about this? All right, so they give them their first and second this year to move up to number 6 overall. The details of the trade aren't really that important. The simulator's judgment isn't fantastic, but whatever. We'll just pretend like it was also a first next year. All right, so Tennessee's up here now, and they're going to grab the last of the 4 great QBs here at number 5. Now Detroit's up, and it's wide open for them here. They've got a lot of options. Previously, I had been favoring either corner or edge. Now it's definitely going to be corner because they just got rid of Jeff Okudah. They really don't have too much in the cornerback room right now. So we're going to go with who I think will be the first corner off the board just due to his size and athleticism, Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon. Now the Raiders are up on the board. And as much as they need interior D-line, I really think that they want to stay away from the character concerns. They've had a lot of problems over the past few years with arrests and obviously, unfortunately, the Henry Ruggs situation, God rest their souls. So we're going to try to go with a safe option for them for now and try to grab them either a corner or a tackle. Could go edge. It's definitely a possibility with Tyree Wilson on the board. Yeah, honestly, I don't think they'd be able to pass up the opportunity of Tyree Wilson being on the board. So that's where we're going to go right here. Then the Falcons, I'm not going to lie, even as a Falcons fan, I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen with them. This might be a trade-up spot. Very possible. I think that with the way the board is right now, though, and I've done this in my last few mock drafts, I think that if the Falcons can keep him close to home and try to keep him out of trouble, I think Jalen Carter here at 8 is a good pick. This is a potential trade down spot. There's a lot of fairly good tackles available a little bit later on. I could see other teams trying to trade up for potentially Bijan or one of the other edge rushers, maybe Nolan Smith, maybe Lucas Van Ness, maybe one of the corners. But with the way the board is right now, we're going to go with, even though I don't think he's the best tackle in the draft, I think that he is viewed by the draft community as the best tackle in the draft. He's a better athlete than Peter Skoronski, even though not being quite of a technician, but he is more pro-ready than Broderick Jones, who is like the better athlete. So I think Paris Johnson will be the first tackle off the board here at number 9. Then we've got Philadelphia here at 10. And, the buzz has been pretty loud about this lately. And I think that there is a very real potential that we see Bijan go in the top 10 right here. Edge is there. They're really stacked at edge. I know they do love to draft D linemen, but honestly, the way the board is right now, I really think that they're either going to go corner or running back. They have corners. Like, as much as I want to draft them, Devin Witherspoon for positional value, this isn't about what I would do. It's about what I think is going to happen. So we're going to go Bijan Robinson out of Texas here at number 10. Then we got Seattle here. They traded back. They need edge. The interior line, D line. Yeah, I think this is about the spot where you could see Lucas Van Ness or Nolan Smith go. I think that honestly, unfortunately, I think Nolan Smith will probably be the pick. And I do love Georgia, but I don't have as much faith in him as a pass rusher. I think he's a little bit too light and has too much of an injury history. But people love those fast edge rushers, and the league is changing. Players are getting thinner and faster, in comparison to the way defensive ends and defensive tackles and linebackers all used to be built. We're going to go Nolan Smith here at number 11. Then we got the Texans here at number 12. And I think what we're going to do here is grab them the best wide receiver on the board and grab them JSN. Now with the Packers on the board, they absolutely hate drafting wide receivers, so I'm definitely not going to pick that for them. Tight end, edge, these are all possibilities. We're going to go edge for them. They do kind of need corner, but I think that realistically they're probably going to go edge. So we're going to grab them Lucas Van Ness at Iowa. Patriots, they're probably going to trade this pick away. I feel like nothing I take here is going to be correct, just because Bill Belichick doesn't follow like traditional draft logic. So in attempts to be correct, even though it definitely won't be, I'm just going to take the best corner on the board because they do have a need for corner. Then the Jets are on the board. I think if Peter Skoronski's here, then they will definitely take him. They love guard tackle flexibility, and they really need tackle with some uncertainties in the tackle room. Peter Skoronski. Now with the Commanders on the board, Joey Porter Jr. would be a great fit for them. Also Deonte Banks, possibly. I personally think that Joey Porter Jr. is better than Deonte Banks. And with corner being one of their biggest needs, if not their biggest need at this position, I'm going to have them going Joey Porter Jr. out of Washington. Or, sorry, out of Penn State to Washington. All right, and then we got Pittsburgh on the clock, corner, tackle, D-line, edge. I think that they're going to want to take a tackle. Kenny Pickett was not fantastic, but he wasn't really that terrible. The offensive line was atrocious, and he really couldn't get that much time to throw. We saw him produce great in college. Doesn't have the strongest arm, but he can be very accurate. They've got a pretty talented offensive room there with Pat Freiermuth and Najee Harris and Deontay Johnson. I would have absolutely no problem going tackle for them right here and grabbing them Broderick Jones. Fantastic athlete, high ceiling. Lions back on the clock. They went corner the first time around. And we haven't seen any of the tight ends go off the board yet. They lost TJ Hawkinson. So as much as it would be nice to draft them a tight end here, I think they may have learned their lesson from drafting tight end relatively high in the draft. TJ Hawkinson was a top 10 pick. I don't think you'd be able to find anyone who said that he was worth that top 10 pick. Despite him not being a bad player, I just don't think that tight end is worth them taking right here. I think you'd be much better served to grab them a defensive lineman or an edge rusher. So that's what we're going to do. Grab them Myles Murphy. I think there's a pretty high potential that happens. You've got a young, dominant, flexible pass rushing duo then with Aiden Hutchinson and Myles Murphy, and I think that would bode very well for the Lions' future. Then you got the Tampa Bay on the clock. This is another confusing pick. I see tackle as a pretty big need for them. They do also need edge and corner. The edge value is not there. They got the high-powered offense. I feel like they're going to want to try to reload that, give Baker Mayfield the best shot he can have. So we're going to go Darnell Wright out of Tennessee right here. Didn't allow a single sack all year in the SEC, which is an incredible feat within itself. Even though I'm sure everyone references that anytime he's picked in any mock draft. It is true. So Seattle back on the board at number 20. I've only seen one wide receiver go off the board. I disagree with wide receiver being this big of a need for them. I would much rather grab them either an interior D lineman or potentially a corner. We did see their young secondary play very well last year. I'm not sure if corner is necessarily the biggest need. T-line is available. Kalijah Kancey would be an interesting pick for them. I think this is about the range where we'll see a guy like Kalijah Kancey go. Everybody wants to say he's the next Aaron Donald. I don't think that that's true, but I do think he's got a very good speed rush on the inside, which is an important thing nowadays. Like I said, we see these traditional positions that are usually bigger, getting thinner and faster and more athletic, and Kalijah Kancey is a perfect example of that. So we're going to go with Kalijah Kancey, number 20 to the Seahawks. Got the Chargers here at pick 21. Wide receiver is definitely a need for them. Tight end is possible. Running back. There's a lot of potential positions for them. We might see Austin Eckler get traded tonight. I think that's a very big possibility. But I think with the way the board is right now, they do want to, keep a good offense for Justin Herbert. We've seen how he can produce with some good weapons, and Keenan Allen's getting much older. and the injury history there. I think tight end is definitely a possibility. However, it's such a stacked tight end class that it might not really be worth it. I do think Michael Mayer will be a first round pick though. But I think at this spot they would probably go receiver and keep Jordan Addison close to where he played in college. Go Jordan Addison at a USC here to the Chargers. Potentially another receiver spot. Corner also potentially. Yeah, I mean they don't really throw the ball that much anyway. They got Mark Andrews and Odell. We can keep Deonte Banks very close to where he went to college, going from College Park to over to Baltimore, staying within the state. So we're going to go Deonte Banks here to the Ravens. Now the Vikings here at 23. I think losing Adam Thielen will actually have a much bigger impact than a lot of people may think. So I think we actually will go receiver for them here. We might not see a receiver, any one of these other receivers go in the first round, although Zay Flowers probably will. But with Justin Jefferson on the outside, you can take Zay Flowers, put him in the slot, and that's going to be a dominant duo right there with a lot of ability to separate. So we're going to go Zay Flowers to Minnesota. Jacksonville on the clock. Corner, safety, edge, tackle. There's a lot of possibilities. I'm not too confident in any of these other tackles though, so I'm gonna make probably the same pick that I made in my last mock draft. And we're gonna go with Brian Branch, safety, corner, flexibility, pretty versatile DB out of Alabama. Get them some more blue chip players in that secondary. Excuse me. Now I got the Giants on the clock. A couple of big needs for them. Receiver, corner. Probably would have gone tight end if they hadn't signed Darren Waller, but I think we're gonna have to stray away from that. I do think that Kelee Ringo will go in the first round just because of his size and athleticism. So I think this is as good of a spot as any, and we're going to go Kelee Ringo here to the Giants at 25. Now the Cowboys are on the clock. I think this is probably where we see a tight end go for the first pick. The first tight end picked. And we got a couple options with Michael Mayer, Dalton Kincaid, Darnell Washington. I think Michael Mayer is just too solid, too complete of a prospect. So we're going to go Michael Mayer here to Dallas at 26. Then we got Buffalo on the clock, number 27. A lot of possibilities here. Interior O-line would be a big help for them. And we always see a lot of like these guards go earlier than we think. Like people want to say that none of these guys are going to be first round picks, but we know that probably won't be the case. So we're going to go with O'Cyrus Torrence here out of Florida. Help keep Josh Allen safe, get a nice, powerful offensive lineman in there. And we got the Bengals on the clock. They did just draft a tackle, so I don't really see that being at the pick for them here. I mean, they just signed a tackle, not drafted. Tight end could be not back to back, but could be two tight ends in close proximity here. Darnell Washington, that's been a big buzz with them, so we're going to go Darnell Washington here. New Orleans on the clock. Could be another spot where you see a receiver go. Definitely high potential for that. I think that's what we're going to do here, and we're going to take Quentin Johnston, get him on the opposite side of Chris Olave. That's a pretty scary duo. A lot of speed and size in Quentin Johnston's case. Now we got the Eagles back on the clock after going Bijan in the top 10. Now they probably can take a D lineman, and people are very down on Brian Bresee, but I don't think there's any way he escapes the first round, especially if he's here. The Eagles would love that. Versatile, can't really play edge, but can move around on the D line. So we're going to take Brian Bresee here at number 30. And then at pick 31, we got the Chiefs on the clock. Couple different options here. It's tough to say at this point. I mean, receiver is definitely a possibility with Josh Downs and Jalen Hyatt. D-line, not really much value. Edge, maybe. I'm not sure. I think it is possible that they grab a guy like Adetomiwa Adebawore. That pronunciation is correct, by the way. I looked it up. I mean, his athleticism at his size at like 280, being able to run that fast is just unbelievable. So I don't think he escapes the first round either. So we're gonna go at Tamiwa Adebawore to the Chiefs at 31. And then that is like the end of the first round because the Steelers pick at 32 is the first pick of the second round because the Dolphins forfeited a pick, but we're going to make the pick anyway just to finish out the draft so we can take a look. They took Broderick Jones. Solid spot for a corner here. So we're going to go just because I think he fits their system better, being a more physical press corner, unlike Emmanuel Forbes, who's a lighter zone corner. We're going to go Cam Smith here to round out the draft. And now let's take a look. All right. So like I said, over under 19 and a half of these picks being correct. I'm going to go over. I think I get about 20. That could be completely wrong and I'll look like a fool, but you know, all these ads. All right. So here's the top 10 right here. A lot of the quarterbacks going early. Then we start to see some of the defensive players go on a run a little bit. Some interesting picks here, but I think these would be a lot of good fits and a lot of good value for the draft board. So anyway, I guess we'll see how this turns out. Thank you guys for tuning in to another video. Like I said, please let me know in the comment section if there's anything else that you guys want to see. I hope you guys have a great day and happy draft day. See you later.